All right, so today we're doing a deep dive into a poem called A Walk Through Corona Wrap Night.
Sounds kind of spooky.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's by this poet, V.N.Giritharan. And he kind of captures this really specific moment in time.
Right, the whole pandemic
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Like he starts the poem by describing this city at midnight, and it's like everything's just frozen.
Curled up in fear, he says.
Yeah, like everyone's holding their breath, waiting to see what happens next. And it's interesting because in the middle of all this stillness, he decides to go for a bike ride.
Almost like he's looking for a sense of normalcy.
Yeah, or maybe even a way to escape the anxiety for a little while. Anyway, he starts riding, and he talks about seeing Lake Ontario, and it's giving this majestic response.
I like that majestic response. What do you think he means by that?
Honestly, I'm not totally sure, but it's like the lake is just doing its own thing, completely unaffected by all the chaos happening around it.
Right, like nature just keeps on going no matter what we humans are up to.
Yeah, and then a little later, he runs into a mother fox and her cub just hanging out in the street.
I remember seeing stuff like that during the lockdowns, too. Like, there are all these reports of animals coming back into cities.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like there are those videos of mountain lions roaming around San Francisco.
Right, it was like all of a sudden the animals were like, hey, where'd everybody go? This place is ours now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that they were present, it was like their behavior was changing too.
Yeah, scientists were saying that some birds were actually able to communicate better because there was less noise pollution from traffic, so they were changing their mating and nesting patterns.
Wow. So it wasn't just a temporary thing. They were actually adapting to the new environment.
Pretty crazy, huh? And speaking of the environment, the poet also talks about how the ozone layer is healing and the Ganges River is getting cleaner.
Yeah, that was one of the silver linings of the whole pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like all the lockdowns actually had a positive impact on the planet.
For sure. There are studies showing that global emissions dropped significantly during that time because factories were shut down and people weren't driving as much.
So it's like all the things we thought were essential,
Yeah.
all the stuff we were buying and consuming, suddenly it wasn't so essential anymore.
Exactly. It made people really rethink their priorities. Like, what do we actually need to survive versus what are we just buying out of habit or because we're bored?
I know, I definitely did some of that online shopping out of boredom.
Me too. But the thing is, the poem doesn't end on a super optimistic note.
Oh, yeah, he talks about feeling this mild grief when he gets back from his bike ride.
Right. It's like he knows that things are going to go back to the way they were eventually. Like all the positive changes to the environment might just be temporary.
I think that's what makes the poem so powerful. It captures both the hope and the uncertainty of that time.
Totally. And it leaves us with this question. Will we learn from this experience? Will we change our behavior and make choices that are better for the planet? Or will we just slip right back into our old ways?
It's a question we all have to answer for ourselves, I guess.
Absolutely. And it's not an easy one.
No, it's not. But it's definitely something worth thinking about.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's our deep dive into A Walk Through Corona Wrap Night.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully you got something out of it.
And maybe even feel inspired to take a bike ride yourself.
Just watch out for those foxes.
Yeah, and the mountain lions.
Okay, we're done here.
We're out.